Hello, and welcome to MS Journey with Christopher. Today, I want to talk a little bit about urinary dysfunction and MS. And the reason why is this is a very common issue for people with MS, and this hits home, especially to me personally, because I have an issue with this. So, we're going to be going over a few things I have lined out here, but what we are mostly going to talk about, let me find my notes here real quick. Okay. There's some questions and a little bit of answers here for, bladder problems with MS. Do you get up more than one time a night? Do you urinate more frequently than you used to? Do you ever have to rush to the toilet to avoid having an accident? Do you leak or have accidents? Now, these are all questions that, if you have MS and you have spasticity issues, these are questions that you'll start asking yourself as things develop. Now, I personally started to develop these issues years ago. Long story, and it's personal history, but I used to drink quite a bit, used to be unhappy, going through a lot of things. But when I first found out is uh, my best friend, his little brother came to visit from Georgia. Now, that's inherently not a big deal, but yeah, technically I tied one on or drank too many beers the night before. But the morning before he was getting ready to leave, this should have been an issue that I should have looked into way back. But I had to go to the bathroom really badly. So I went to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't get started. I could not start a stream, and then after what seemed like forever, like a half hour, I finally got a stream started, but it was a weak stream. Now, this should have all been lead up to having bladder issues and problems like I used to. Or not used to, but this should have been a lead up to issues that I was having on and off with my bladder, urinary dysfunction. But we didn't know about MS yet. I didn't know I had MS. Nobody knew. So, I kept quiet about it. But this is something that hits home for me because there's some things I'd like to read off here from, let me see, where are some of my notes here? Let's see, this is from the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and it says bladder problems with MS, frequency and or urgency, hesitancy in starting, frequency of frequent nighttime urination, incontinence, inability to empty the bladder completely. These are some things that I was dealing with. And as it got worse, at one point in my journey, I actually had to have a catheter. It's a long story. I'll get into it another time. But it wasn't necessarily a pleasant experience for me. So, needless to say, I never went back to, let's say, my doctor. I had a specialist, urologist, I believe. But anyways, I never went back to them because they wanted to do a urodynamics test, and I'm here to tell you that it's a lot of catheters, and it was a personal thing for me. But some of the questions that people ask themselves, according to the MS National MS Society here, are you finding it more difficult to urinate when you go? Do I feel as though my bladder isn't completely empty? Do I experience frequent or recurrent urinary tract infections? Am I using pads or other strategies to protect my clothing? Am I limiting the amount of fluids I drink? That is one I do when I travel. Other times at home, I don't. We'll talk about that later. Do my bladder symptoms keep me from doing what I enjoy? Yeah, to a certain point, and that's why we wanted to have this talk. Management treatment options. Now, they list here diet modifications, adequate fluid intake up to a few hours before bedtime, bladder training, or planned voiding. Okay, these things are possible. These are kind of what I'm doing now is I try to avoid, like, I'm having my coffee right now. You try to avoid things that are, high in caffeine, things that will exacerbate your symptoms. Coffee is one of them. It's almost noon. This is my last cup of coffee. I have my coffee in the mornings. So that's one thing I do is I don't drink coffee all day long like I used to. Um, I wear easily removable clothes. So if I do have here in like right there, you can barely see it if you're watching me here. That is a backpack that I have with, excuse me, clothes, added clothes, things to urinate into, like if I have a problem or an issue. There's some medical stuff, but basically, I take a backpack anywhere I go if I go on any long journey that's more than a half hour away from home. That's one way that I started working with my issue. Now I don't have to a lot. Now I've only had this issue a couple times, but I try to time everything. I drink lots of water. I try to drink all my liquids before 8, 9 o'clock at night as I go to bed between 10 and 11. I've been doing that lately, and I've been having a lot better issues sleeping. I get up once, sometimes at night, about 11:30 or so after I first go to bed. Sometimes I don't, but I haven't been waking up until almost 6 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom. So that's nice. I've been controlling my sleep a little bit better, which is glorious. But some of the other issues like traveling, going out and about, that stuff is very hard for people. Looking at, let me see here. There's something I wanted to look at. This is from Urinary Dysfunction and MS by Nancy J. Holland, RN. This is from a 2016 National MS Society. Um, oh, little letter here written in. I want to go back. Sorry, it's taken me so long. I'm going back through looking what I wanted to read off here. There's a few things, but urinary tract infections are one thing people have to look for. If you're not fully voiding your bladder, there's storage dysfunction, emptying dysfunction, and a combined dysfunction. Now, with those, you have problems like urgency, frequency, need to go during the nighttime, incontinence, dribbling, hesitancy, things like that. Now, these are all around for pretty much everything, combined dysfunction. Urinary tract infections definitely are something to look out for. That happens, increased spasticity, a common symptom of MS. So, a lot of people have, bladder and or bowel issues. Dark colored or cloudy, foul smelling urine. This could be multiple things. I don't want to come across as I'm a doctor. You need to talk to your doctor if you have that. It could be you're dehydrated. Could be you have a urinary tract infection. That might be a lead up before it starts burning. You have issues. So that's one to check with your doctor for sure. Going back through treatment, there's really not a lot of new stuff that's come out. There's intermittent self-catheterization, which, that's something that I looked into and I did for about the first month or so after my catheter because I was having some issues. The main thing is you know just stop being embarrassed. Like I said, I have my backpack take with me. It's extremely embarrassing. If you know where you're going, try to time your trips. Like for me, I don't have coffee almost 2 hours before I go to Portland. Now, when I go to Portland, Oregon, that's where my doctor, my neurologist is. That's about a 3 hour drive for me. So I have it timed where usually I stop about 2 to 2.5 hours away from home. There's a restroom, stop, stretch my legs that I use, and then I can finish up the rest of my trip. However, it's a really long day, so after my trip, it's making sure that I have enough fluids. I'm sorry, not after my trip, but on my return trip back after I've talked to the doctor, family, whoever drives me, Like I said, it's an all day event that we don't stay the night. We leave early in the morning and get back early evening. So it's mainly having enough liquids on the way home. That is something everybody needs to look for. Definitely pay attention to how much, your fluid intake. That is extremely important, is your fluid intake. Nobody wants to get sick from not having the right proper fluid intake. I'm uh, bladder problems. Let me see. I think I kind of covered everything. There's not a lot of new stuff out there as far as bladder problems. Most of the stuff is, pretty old. They tell you things to look for. There's a lot of different symptoms, um, but mostly the symptoms that I listed are pretty frequent. Or not frequent. Those are the issues that you'll run into the most when you're out and about. I just, something I want to read here. This is what I do. Plan frequent stops. Use and carry discreet protection, such as pads. They afford you confidence, especially in situations where getting to the restroom can be difficult. Wear easily removable clothes, such as trousers with elastic waistbands or Velcro closures. Stash a change of clothes, underwear, pads, wipes, catheter, paper towel, whatever you might need. And going back, that is what I mentioned my backpacks for. Try to just I use a backpack. Use some sort of bag, something discreet that you can always have packed with an extra change of clothes you can take with you. You can do whatever you need to, but definitely keep up on your fluids. If you think you have a serious problem and need to talk to the doctor, by all means, it might be embarrassing, but you need to talk to your doctor. They might refer you to a specialist, such as mine did. Um, it's all treatable. Just make sure to take care of yourself. And with that, I want everybody to have a great day. Um, it's been a tough year, really hard year, but everything's looking up. So just remember, take care of yourself, and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Bye bye.